Good afternoon. I'm Michael Sanders, and this pre-recorded broadcast is coming to you from the auditorium at Canterbury Woods in Pacific Grove. Not so long ago, I was reading about kind of an eccentric English composer with a quite remarkable name of Kaikhosru Shapurji Sorabji. He is known for his very complex, very difficult to play, and very long compositions. One of his piano works lasts more than 8 hours. It's been recorded on 7 CDs. Well, I'm not going to be playing any Sorabji anytime soon, or even listening to his music, but reading that article made me think somewhat about what goes into making a concert. We have an idea of concert lasts about an hour and a half, and it has a couple big pieces on it, maybe one or two shorter pieces. When you go to a concert, you put on your best clothes, you park your car, you go have a dinner somewhere, you sit with a bunch of other people, get up at intermission, go back, and then drive home at the end of the evening. But like so many other things in this world that has been so deeply touched by the pandemic, that seems to be changing. I don't know if we'll ever return really to that again. So what I've been thinking about is, how about playing some of the very short pieces that have been written that are hard to fit into a conventional program? And so after thinking of that, I thought of two composers especially that I'd like to share with you this afternoon, Bach and Gershwin. So just to set our internal chronometers, I'd like to play two short pieces, one piece by Bach, one piece by Gershwin, so you can get a sense of about how long most of the pieces in this program are going to be. And after that, I'll talk about those pieces and explain more of the program. So here's a piece by Bach. It's a prelude in E major. And the Gershwin piece is Fascinating Rhythm. So the two works that I'm drawing most of this program from Bach, I'm drawing from a collection of pieces called Short Preludes. The collection was made in the 19th century, about a century after Bach's death. They really aren't preludes to anything in particular. They're pieces that Bach wrote in the course of his teaching. They are, in a certain sense, teaching pieces. There are 18 of them in two sets of 12 and 6, and I'm playing my preludes from the set of 6. So, in terms of the music that I'm going to draw from Gershwin, in 1932, Gershwin made a collection of some of his most popular songs, 18 of his most popular songs. It's kind of unusual. They are very short. A usual popular song is 32 bars. They are 32 bars or maybe a couple bars at the beginning or at the end. Most of them lie on 2 pages. But they, at the same time, they are quite complex arrangements, almost symphonic arrangements. So you wish they were longer, because the expectation is once they get started, you'd like to have them go on a little bit longer. But that's what we're going to draw from, and then I'll add a little bit more Gershwin too. So first of all, I'll play now another Bach prelude. This one is in C major. And then after that, I will play 2 wonderful Gershwin songs. Someone Loves Me and Swonderful. Someone Loves Me and Swonderful. So Bach prelude and then 2 Gershwin songs. Now, this collection of songs by Gershwin had an amazing number of songs that are still currently popular. But of course, they don't include anything that was written after 1932. And in particular, they don't include anything from Porgy and Bess. It would seem like a great shame to do a program of music by Gershwin and not do anything from Porgy and Bess. So I will include some 4 songs that come from the opera Porgy and Bess, and these will be done in arrangements by a very wonderful arranger, Brent Edstrom. So I'd like to begin with It Ain't Necessarily So. This is a song that Sporting Life sings and scandalizes a church picnic when he tells the people that the things that you're liable to read in the Bible, they ain't necessarily so. So here we go. Brent Edstrom's arrangement of It Ain't Necessarily So. Thank you. Now I'd like to return to Bach with another of the little preludes. He wrote these pieces for his students. In addition to being a great composer, a great instrumentalist, great organ technician, he was also a great teacher, starting with his 3 sons who became distinguished composers. So people came to him not as you would come to the neighborhood piano teacher, but they came more like if you were a promising tennis player, you would go to a famous coach. Or if you wanted to become a painter, you went to the studio of a great painter, and you learned to live that way. When a student came to Bach to learn to play the harpsichord, the keyboard, spent his first 6 months or a year doing technical exercises. Well, one of Bach's contemporaries wrote this about his teaching. For months together, he made them practice nothing but simple exercises for the fingers of both hands, at the same time emphasizing the need for clearness and distinctness. He kept them at these exercises for from 6 to 12 months, unless he found his pupils losing heart, in which case he so far met them as to write short studies which incorporated a particular exercise. So that's what these preludes are. And here's a typical example. It's a flowing line in eighth notes. It's also a wonderful minuet, and it's also a kind of multi-dimensional melody that suggests its own accompaniment in many ways. Beautiful little piece in C minor, prelude, little prelude by Bach. And then after I've done that, I will play two more wonderful Gershwin pieces. One is Swanee, which was Gershwin's maybe first major hit, not in its original stage production, but in its later singing by Al Jolson. Swanee, Gershwin claimed he wrote it with his brother Ira in about 10 minutes in a cross-city bus. In the first stage production, there were 60 chorus girls on a darkened stage with lights in their slippers. I can't understand why it wasn't a great hit. And then after I play Swanee, I'll play a song called Sweet and Low Down, perhaps not so well known. It became the title of a Woody Allen mock documentary about a musician, but the song doesn't appear in that. So anyway, here are three little pieces, a Bach prelude and two Gershwin songs, Swanee and Sweet and Low Down. Now I'd like to tell you about a remarkable woman named Anne Brown. She was a 20-year-old student at Juilliard, the greatest musical school in the United States, in the voice department, the first black student at Juilliard in voice. When she read in the newspaper that Gershwin was writing an opera based on a popular novel of the time called Porgy. It had also become a successful stage play, also called Porgy. Well, she wrote to Gershwin and asked him if he would hear her sing. So she came, and he was so impressed that he asked her to return to sing the different songs as they were composed, so he could hear them, what they sounded like in a trained operatic voice. Also, he was so impressed by Miss Brown that the part of Bess, which was originally a minor character in the play and in the projected opera, grew in importance and in size. And Gershwin, of course, wanted her to sing it. So at the end of all the dress rehearsals and right before the performance was to go into the first tryouts, Gershwin took her to lunch and said, "Miss Brown, I want you to know that from now on, in perpetuity, this opera will be called not Porgy, but Porgy and Bess." Well, to go on a little bit with her story, she was successful in the show. She did some singing in the United States, but she found that she didn't have the opportunities that she felt she deserved, and she felt that was because of her race. So she went to Europe and was very successful as an opera and oratorio singer, and then later on in life as a voice teacher. We had many distinguished students. She died at the age of 96 in Oslo. That was Europe's gain, and I think our loss. I think the most beautiful song that Bess sings in the opera is "I Loves You, Porgy." She's telling Porgy that she loves him, that she tells him she's not strong enough to make life on her own. She has a brutal boyfriend. She has problems with addiction. I suppose we would say now she has problems with self-esteem. She needs Porgy. And she sings this aria which could have been written by Puccini. It is so beautiful and so operatic. "I Loves You, Porgy." This arrangement is by Brent Edstrom, and the very ending, though, comes from an improvisation by Bill Evans. Thank you. Now, another prelude, and this is in D minor. It sounds like a Bach invention. And after that, I will play two more Gershwin songs, The Man I Love, and also Strike Up the Band. Both of these songs ended up in the same musical, a musical called Strike Up the Band. And it was a truly terrible musical. Not the songs, but the story was just awful. It's not a surprise that it closed out of town and never even made it into Broadway. But the two songs are wonderful. The Man I Love, which became The Man I Love, the Girl I Love in this musical, and Strike Up the Band, which later on became the fight song for the UCLA marching band. Strike up the band for UCLA. I would tell you more, but I went to USC instead of UCLA, and so I know nothing about the crosstown school. So here is some Bach, the prelude in D minor, and then two songs, The Man I Love and Strike Up the Band. Now I'd like to go back to Porgy and Bess, probably the best known song. It's the song that opens the opera. The very first words that we hear are Clara singing to her child, her son, I think, this lullaby, Summertime. It recurs several times. I think it's sung 4 times. In fact, once by Bess herself when she has been admitted into this proper society and is allowed to care for the now orphaned child of this Clara and her husband, who've been killed in a terrible storm. Anyway, everybody loves this song, I think. This is kind of an unusual way of looking at the song. I think a beautiful arrangement, once again by Brent Edstrom. Summertime. Now, one more Bach prelude. This is in D major. It's in what we sometimes call trio texture. There's a moving left-hand part and then 2 upper parts that intertwine. So the prelude in D major, and then after that, 2 final songs from the songbook. One is I'll Build a Stairway to Paradise. The stairway, turns out, has steps that are, in fact, dance steps. And the other song is Oh Lady Be Good. And I need to warn you about Oh Lady Be Good. He marks it with humor. And there are a number of wrong notes in the piece that are not mine. So here are, first of all, another Bach prelude, this time in D major, and then 2 songs, I'll Build a Stairway to Paradise and Oh Lady Be Good. And then finally from Porgy and Bess, this is Porgy's great song. He sings it first to celebrate the joy of sharing a life now with Bess. And then he sings it again in the opera when he gets out of prison, where he's been falsely arrested and has done perfectly fine. He's won a lot of money in gambling from other fellow prisoners, and he's come home to Bess, and he's about to discover that Bess has left for New York with sport and life. And then the music comes back one final time, right before his great final aria with chorus, I'm on my way. He's setting off by goat cart to New York, wherever that might be, to find Bess and bring her home. So here is I Got Plenty of Nuttin'. Got Plenty of Nuttin'. One more arrangement by Brent Edstrom of the immortal music of Gershwin. Thank you. We're experimenting with a new format this week, and we owe a great deal to Keith Chase for recording these concerts in advance, and then, first of all, posting them to YouTube, and also broadcasting them at the scheduled time on the campus television. When you see these broadcasts on Friday, if you happen to see it on television, you will be aware that today is Employee Recognition Day. So I would also, in addition to Keith Chase, our fellow resident, I'd like to recognize Jovan and Blanca and Elvira and Shelby and probably many other people who have participated in making these broadcasts possible. It's been almost a year that we've been doing these concerts, almost the entire time of the shutdown. So we're grateful for you as an audience. I only wish that I could see some of your faces as I was playing, but I think that the balance of better sound and maybe a little bit of a lightening of the load of our wonderful staff compensates for that. So here's one final song. I began with Fascinating Rhythm. I will play another arrangement from the songbook of I Got Rhythm. Gershwin seemed to like this song as a subject for variations. There are two settings, two repetitions of the tune in this setting, which in the scale of the songbook is almost like Parsifal. Gershwin later went on and made almost a piano concerto, a setting of variations for piano and orchestra of I Got Rhythm. But this is two variations linked together by Gershwin of his song, I Got Rhythm, from the songbook.